that folk music is just simply the history and feelings of people, what we call the common people, without any bad connotation of the word. And it's done in the common, simple style. So anytime you hear anybody putting on folk music with dramatics, you know that he hasn't got down to the real thing yet. We sing it simply and we play it in the style that is unique in ballad singing. I can play a banjo fairly well in several different ways, but I'll play it the way it sounds most folksy. So I had to begin right away. There are a lot of things that I could tell you that I think you would like to hear, but one is that I'm thoroughly at home in folk music because I was born in the head of the creek in a big double-room log house, and mother and sisters were singing it when I came on the scene. Now, I played the banjo since I was 5 years old, and I preached since I was 17. Now, I retired about 3 years ago from the pastorate, and now somebody said he's quit preaching and gone to picking the banjo again. Maybe that's not so bad. I want to give you a picture of the typical evening at our house. I say our house. I never played for a dance in my life, but I talk like I've been a real rounder. And somehow or other there was attraction at our house up on the head of the creek there. Two pretty girls mainly, older sisters, and they worked not only in the house but out in the fields. The chief social occasion was a bean stringing or a bean hulling. That's where you string beans and hull beans. And shuck tarring, that's where you tar shucks and stuff like that, you know. And we invite all the young people of the community in or announce that there'd be a bean stringing. Getting the bean strung was not the most important matter, but to have a lot of fun. And so a typical evening would be like this. We'd be waiting. The beans have been picked out in the cornfields in the day, and now everybody's getting ready. And the girls are looking anxiously for the people coming, you know, especially the boys. And about dark, you'd hear Taylor Connolly coming around the bend on the county road, and he was singing to himself, "Who'll pick the banjo, who'll sing the songs, who'll court them pretty girls when I'm dead and gone. Oh, my roady gal, a trouble on my mind." Well, it wouldn't be long till you'd hear up the other holler, and at the Ivy Gap, Dahmer Bailey stopped on the big flat rock up there and gave a few cuts of dance, and he'd sing, "Mammy's little baby loves shortbread, Mammy's little baby loves shortbread bread." And Baitland Masters, the chief banjo picker, would come up the creek riding an old flop-eared mule, and he'd be singing, "What will it do with the baby, oh, what will it do with the baby, oh, what will it do with the baby, oh, take him to his daddy, oh." And others would be coming in from different sections, singing their own little songs. And finally, somebody with a commercial mind might top the hill back there at the county road. Things begin to quiet down, and you'd hear his voice in a long, lonesome style. "I've been a moonshiner for 7 long years. I've spent all my money for whiskey and beer." Well, that's good advertising, but I sang that song, all the stanzas of it, in Indiana, University of Indiana, and one girl asked me if that wasn't a protest song. Never couldn't figure out what she meant. But I want to take you through the evening. First thing, you had to have the banjo picker get tuned up, you know. And even if the banjo were in perfect tune, he had to tune it again, you know. He moved the strings and he'd tune and tune. And everybody would get anxious for him to get started. The beans have all been strung and the beds have been pushed back against the wall, and now it's time to have a little dance. But he's slow. He's waiting for a mood. Even though it sounds right, it's not right yet. So somebody comes to the door and gives him a sign like that, and he lays his banjo down and he goes outside in the dark, and they stay out there about 5 minutes, and he comes back clearing up his throat and trying to get his breath. But he sits down and fingers over the banjo, and it sounds better now. Now that had to happen about 3 times before he could get the banjo tuned. Being a religious man, I always worked under a handicap.